Hello, good evening, denizens of the internet. I am here with some lore. Everyone should be so excited. I do not sound excited because I'm very tired. I have been traveling, and I got back and took the buses, 3 buses on my travel route. So it's been a bit of a day, but I am creative and inspired, and I've been having a lot of fun with this tool called Obsidian, which is basically just a bunch of cross-linked markdown files. Let's see, like, okay, here's a thing. I can cross-link anything. Um, Clicking around, and it shows you all the previous um, links. It's great. Somnar. Haven't written much about Somnar yet. Um, and this is just perfectly what I needed to organize all of the relevant lore between Daughter of Dreams primarily and a bit of stuff from The Last Librarian. They do take place in the same universe. Mostly, well, okay, two reasons. It does save a lot on world building because I get to have all this lore that I use in all of the other places. Um, but all kinds of cool things that I can connect to ideas from other games and just kind of reuse stuff instead of having to make it from scratch every time I want to make an epic fantasy game. But also, there's just kind of like this personal appeal for having an interconnected fantasy world, um, which is perhaps a bit vain. Like, I don't know. The Daughter of Dreams might be my last fantasy game for a while. It could be. Who knows? Like, I don't know at all. Hopefully not, but like, this is not having connected lore does not comply with keeping the scope small for small projects. But it's fun, so I'm going to do it anyways. All right, so it's going to be a bit tricky today because writing is not the most exciting thing to do on stream. But I'll try to explain stuff and just talk about design ideas and stuff. I don't know how long I'll stream. And I also have to avoid spoilers. So the page for like Charon and Sonia, I should probably not touch. um, Probably not the page for Tarea. Uh, I don't think too much Out of Dreams spoilers is actually in these documents yet, but we'll see. Anyways, all that to say, if you really don't want spoilers, uh, you should not watch this stream. So there we go. The lore connects around, well, there's a pantheon of gods. They're called the Origin Casters because they invented magic. And in Daughter of Dreams, there's 2 to 3 that we're primarily concerned about. Tarea, who we've met right at the very beginning of the game. Tarea is like the god of light and the god of the Church of Light, who is the most powerful institution in the game and subject to a lot of criticism. That's kind of the point, the whole point of Daughter of Dreams. I don't know how much of it is apparent yet in the dialogue, but don't worry, I'm getting there. Um, and then there's Syra, who is connected. I won't talk about him much. And then Terra Nox, this one, who is connected and not going to be like shown necessarily. He may be mentioned once or twice, but he's not really a character in the way that Syra and Tare are. Syra was actually in The Last Librarian, in the Curse of Syra item, which is my favorite item in The Last Librarian and is also implemented in Daughter of Dreams and will be obtainable eventually. I think if we go look at Syra, wait, give me, there we go. There it is, Curse of Syra. I haven't written about it yet, but yeah. So why don't I do that? Actually, I can describe it here. Basically, I don't really need to put too much detail into this. Is it created by? So the Curse of Syra is an artifact. By that I mean it's a yeah, it's in there. Artifacts. Enchanted object, basically. I don't quite know what it's made out of. Like, I don't know, fire magic. It's just crystallized magic of some kind, I guess. Uh, I'll say it's created as a byproduct. Oh boy, can't wait for even more MS Paint bugs. Yep, that's my job. Discoverer of MS Paint bugs. In fact, I was hired by Microsoft after that stream. I'm on QA now. That is all lies. Uh, just to be clear, this stream will be full of disclaimers. Spoiler disclaimer, not on Microsoft QA disclaimer, not sponsored by Obsidian disclaimer. I love it though. Y'all should try it, and it's free if you are a single person. Uh, Even for commercial purposes, as long as your company is not bigger than one person, which is true in my case. So that's great. And if you happened to then grow bigger and decided you didn't want to pay for a license, which you could at that point, it's just a bunch of markdown files. Like, you still have all your text. Link in the description. Yep, down there. Go take a look if you want to do some world building in this manner of interconnected markdown files. It's perfect for my brain. I don't know how well it works for anyone else, but you think if I email them, could I get them to sponsor me? Like, give me a free pro subscription, and I'll just put their link everywhere. Put their link in my Discord bio. I don't think I have enough, like, a large enough community for them to find that valuable, but for me, it's just about, hey, look at this cool thing I found. Oh, since there's someone here now, yeah, I did my whole intro to no viewers. That's okay. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. I might do it. One of the flashy features of this tool that doesn't really matter at all is it gives you a graph of all of your pages and the links between them. You can see the Origin casters have a lot of links because they're they're the pantheon of gods, so they're pretty relevant. The Void is pretty relevant. The villain of the Last Librarian is weirdly relevant, um, just because of like the way that he operates as like the magic that he does is kind of unique, and so he's a great example in a lot of the other documents for like, oh, by the way, this works this way. See what lasted in the Last Librarian. And I found out it has a time lapse mode, and this was me making all my pages over time. So I'll let this play because it's satisfying. But like, I don't know what you learn from this information. Like, it, like, sure, you can like see how stuff is connected and like browse between nodes, but like you can just do that in the text files or in the drop down tree. But it's pretty fun. Yeah, we're mixing up some lore spaghetti. All right, there we go. It will be fun once I've done a lot. It needs to be a tree, not just a floating mess. I agree. Although, I mean, if you look at the stuff like the Origin casters, like there's so much. Like, what would the tree look like? I mean, yeah, but it would be more useful if you could like pick a node and be like, hey, make a tree out of this as the top, and you could see like how far away each concept was. But it's flashy and fun. I don't know how much usefulness is. Uh, oops. And to cross-link something, you just put it in double square brackets. Boom. That's a link to Syra. Oops. What? Okay, Syra creates a zealot, and as a byproduct, there's also the curse of Syra. And you get some of Syra's power. But it causes physical pain. In the games, it effectively makes the bearer do more damage. Okay, so it makes them stronger and also more vulnerable. I'm going to, in the appearances section here, I will list in as an in-game item. Allows, so as an in-game item, Curse of Cyra allows the player to do double damage. And it appears in The Last Librarian. Oops. And I'm going to leave a note there to myself that it's not yet obtainable. So that if I'm ever looking at this and I'm like, wait a second, I didn't know that was in the game. That's because I haven't added it yet. And hopefully once I add it, I can come back and edit that. Not super important. The appearances thing is just to help me keep track of things like, did it show up? Was it there? Like, those are the most important thing, right? Like lore that's described in the text but doesn't show up in a game, I can easily change. But now that the Curse of Cyra is actually literally an item in The Last Librarian, I have to notate that so that I don't later try to say something like, oh yeah, Cyra never showed up on Rosara. That's just not true, because like once it's in game, it kind of has to be canon, or at least taken a little bit more seriously. I can, I'm not taking it super seriously. I can totally just, you know, um, retroactively change stuff if I need. But if I can avoid doing that, it's better probably. Kind of my approach to lore is generally like what we're seeing is the retelling after the fact. So like it's not necessarily always correct. Um because people are fallible, right? People like the retelling in the form of the game could just be straight up wrong. That's okay. That happens sometimes. But in here I try to keep it at least consistent. Oh, I'm drinking some iced decaf coffee and just got the grounds in my throat. Give me a second to clear my throat with some water. All right. So that's the Curse of Syra. I don't know. There's probably more there that I could write, but right now I'm just kind of filling in the blanks of the story. Let me find. Here it is. DoD World Building has some stuff. Probably some stuff I can just copy paste in and then talk about briefly. All right, so here is the Silver Forest. Let's go there. Silver Forest. I'm going to paste this in and then clean it up as I go. A nearly mythical place. All right, so the Silver Forest is basically like analogy for heaven, I guess. Except it's like real people actually live there. But like people tell stories of it. Like if you could only ever get there, a little bit like like the quote unquote West or something, like traveling off to find Aslan or something. Um, but it is. Um, the reason it's in there in Daughter of Dreams is so it is actually already in the game in one of the like libraries. There's a book that talks about it. Um, and like the purpose it serves in the story of the game is well a little bit just of like world building for fun, but also it's the home of one of the characters that we will introduce, Angel Aaron. And it is supposed to kind of represent an ideal to strive for, in the sense that like there's a lot of conflict in the story. Well, not even really that much compared to some games, but like the conflict in the story doesn't go nowhere. They're going to address it, and then I want to be able to propose alternatives. And the Silver Forest is something I came up with one day when I was like really anxiety stricken. I think this was the the 2020 election was when I came up with this. I was really stressed out, so I was like, I'm going to tell a story to make me less stressed out. Um, and then the hope is that like um, the story isn't left. Well, we've resolved it, but what next? That there is actually a few answers to what next, and the Silver Force is just one of them. Oh no, Oh no, politics. Yeah, it can be stressful, my dude. Um, so yeah, at the time I was just trying to distract myself and not fixate too much. Um, let's see. Angel was born there and then eventually left. This is probably fine. I'll make this a heading. Oh my god. Nice. And then this is a heading. I think this was from these headings were from a different tool I was using a while back that I will not name because I didn't like it that much. That had like way more strict formatting for each page. It's one thing I didn't like about it. Like I was just like, I just want a text file. What are you giving me all these boxes to fill in? But and I just need to go through and link these things. These descriptions probably don't matter that much. The mandate of the forest doesn't really matter, so I'm not going to make a fire campfire. No. Um, it's but yeah, that's the same like category of thing. I think to be honest, I don't even remember the name anymore, but it wasn't campfire. I think it is something that was like more specifically for D&D, which is like so it had like D&D centric like categories to fill out. But I was just like, no, I just need to organize concepts. I don't actually need to like I don't need the like prompt for how to do world building. I just want to be able to make a bunch of files that can be linked to each other in a way that lets them not get lost. You know what I mean? Like, what's so lovely about this is like, oh, Somnar, I can just click on that and find out more about it. And in the way that this does with the Markdown, it's just really easy to do those links. I used to use a thing called WikiPad or something that was exactly like this, but it's old and not supported anymore. And like, it was just like a little bit too scuffed because like I don't know. I think the last time it had been updated was like 2014, and it's just like eventually I was just like, it's not actually helping me at all. It's just too messy. Um, Origin caster. I probably don't need to mention that because if you want to know, you can go check Cry's last page. Then the Shattering has a link. I will not talk about that. Humans still thrived better when they could among the gritty wilderness. I'm not sure if I actually agree with that. I wrote it, but I'm not sure how I feel about that statement right now. Anyways, a lot of them did go, like, that's true. They did go to the Flaren Forest, so I'm happy with that. I'm not really sure if this is actually the motivation for that, but this is all like very Sumner specific stuff, but I'm just gonna leave it in here because why not? Um, but I won't make a page for the Vendari or anything or the Great Victory because those are just Somnar things. Or maybe I will eventually. Right now I won't. I'm trying to. I can't. I'm still not really sure. You know what? I may as well just put it all in there because it's not like the nice thing about this tool, Obsidian, is just like I can put a file on there and like I'm not gonna. It's not gonna get in my way. It's just if I want to reference it, it's there. So I may as well include the pages for Daughter Dream specific things um, in this database as well. So let me go find. I have a page for the Fissured Cliffs. That's interesting. Let's see here. So here is the Fissured Cliffs. Make that a link. Click on it to make a page. Nice. Copy paste. Okay, so now east west. Like that. Okay, so now it's connected. Here's a comment, a footnote. Do I have a... I'm just going to put that in here. What? Oh, no. There we go. Okay. So I have worlds, and void is... oh, my gosh. And shattering. Oops. And then there's Foss Lake. I don't need a page on Foss Lake. That's just a lake. There's the description. Okay, sure. Okay, great. So that's about Shadowgate. And yeah, so we haven't got to Shadowgate yet in Daughter of Dreams, but that will be the thing that happens after I finish this first part of the game. Shadowgate is after that. And Shadowgate is a city built below the Fissured Cliffs, which are so tall that it is always shadowed, despite there being two suns on Somnar. Um, it is always shadowed, um, and so that's like that contrast between like the people who live in the light and the people who live in the dark. The quote unquote evil dark sorcerer, which the is ostensibly the villain of Daughter of Dreams. It's not. We're gonna get to him too, but that's the one of the few cutscenes I have left to program, write and program actually, is meeting the dark sorcerer. We will meet him soon. I'm excited. I have most of the cutscene and it's really cool. But there's like one little bit where like I can't quite figure out the characterization, so I'm like struggling to figure out what he would say or why he's even there. Like I'm like, I need him here for like moving the plot forward reasons, but for character motivation, I can't quite figure it out. So I might have to like do a bit of contriving just to make it work, but okay. Okay, so that's the Fissured Cliffs page. Let me find in Riversend. Do I need to? Oh, I'll put that in later. No, I'll do that now. Riversend. Oh, I can categorize this too. So here, put the fissure cliffs into places. Maybe I should make. I'm gonna make groups for Somnar and the Last Librarian. Well, Somnar, because I don't think there's any significant places in the Last Librarian that I need to cover. But at least there's a group for Somnar. When I get to new worlds that might have places. So then it should be the case that if I'm looking at Somnar, I can see the places that are related with it. Where is it? Well, that doesn't help me. Where is Somnar? Wait. It's just two spaghetti. Can't do it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, some books, some places. Great. Just kind of curious about that. Cool. Let me add Riversend. Riversend is cool. There is some talk about Riversend in the game already. Riversend is mentioned by frickin' what's his name? Old Man Leo. Love the guy. He's just out for a walk. Wrong place, right time. Big brain lore. Thank you. I like to think I have a big brain. I think the lore speaks without me, though. Riversend is inspired by. Hold on, I'm going to show a picture. For anyone who is not aware of the Edge Chronicles, it has the coolest world building ever. Let me find the more recent map because what I want to show is. Okay, so. Oh, hey. On their website, it's just all the maps. What? Okay. Here's the Edge Chronicles. And will this open? Oh, nice. The big old map is. So the idea is they're on this. The world takes place on this enormous, like, rock spire over a pit. And then there's all these different crazy places along the Edge Chronicles. And it's just everything is so unique. There's like lots of different goblins, but the goblins are like really strongly characterized to be something unique. And the differences between the goblins, there's these like floating rocks. This whole city is just one giant floating rock. It's actually weighted down because the rock wants to float so much. Nice idea. Let's build a city on the edge of the cliff. Well, they don't have a choice. This is the whole world. They don't know what's up this direction. And until the very end of the series, they don't even have a single clue what's down here. The panning on this map is weird. They build the city here just so that they can literally just send all their waste off the edge. They don't know where it goes. And yeah, when mudsliding is over, it's very dangerous. This is a very hostile and dangerous world. So the Riversend, it's hard to tell from Undertown. Is there no map here? Oh, here it is. This would work. Okay, so here's the edge from the top. And the deep woods is basically the bulk of the edge. You can see it in scale. Like what we were looking at before was like this much of it. It's mostly just woods. Hello, Luna. We're talking about the Edge Chronicles, so I can talk about inspirations. And there's actually, you can't tell on this map, but there's a river that flows all the way straight down the middle. I guess it winds a bit and flows off the end. That is like the main river where everyone gets water from. And it all comes from River Rise, way up here in the very secret, darkest places. And so it's this idea. Okay, this map is so scuffed. Okay, good enough. There's River Rise. All the water comes from one place, and it's like this secret, mystical, and hidden spring of water, and it goes through the whole world of the Edge. and it's awesome. So, anyways, that is what Riversend is and Daughter of Dreams. It's the same idea, um, and all the rivers are going to come from one location. I don't know if so. Eventually, Riversend could be a dungeon. I don't know if I will actually add that dungeon, but that's the idea that eventually it would. Speaking of Luna, here's your river, River Shimizu. Um, yeah. So I made Riversen into like the kind of like Riversen is the water temple. It's hard as hell. Yeah, pretty much. Your river. Yep. Um. So there's like a lot of like tall tales about Riversend. Um. Pretty much all of them are fake. Riversend's just a mountain spring, but I think there's going to be some cool stuff under there or whatever. I don't know. Um, but it's a cool setting that I will use if I get a chance to. Hey, Casmon. Welcome, welcome. So let's see. I don't even think I want to link Tarea because like it doesn't actually have anything to do with her. Um, I do need to add a link to Somnar so that it's there. Okay, that's all. Also, another Easter egg, the River Theron, which Lydia mentions by name, I think, in game, is specifically a reference to Wheel of Time. That's the name of a character from Wheel of Time. Okay, so that's Riversend. Let me find another thing that I have written already. Landmarks. I have a landmark section that's completely empty. Uh, this I will add to the document if I put it into the game. I wrote about Sakara, I think. Okay, take me there. Yes. This is another potential dungeon for Daughter of Dreams. Would be this Academy of Sakara. And Sakara is one of the origin casters that I've not used yet, but I have an item that I designed in the old real-time combat prototype that was called Sakara's Mask after Majora's Mask. Landmark citation needed, exactly. I love Majora's Mask, and I wanted a mask item. Yo, PCK with the first. Tell the others hello from me. I just keep reading it as Japanese. Yeah, good point. um, I there's a whole conlang also that I developed recently that I can't put into this documents yet or really explain right now. Um, but it involves alternating consonants and vowels, and so Sakara is just a very natural word in my conlang. By conlang, for those that don't know that, that just means a language I made up. So yeah, Sakara's mask might be in the game. My idea is that like at some point Duran swaps his mask out for Sakara's mask, and that as a mechanic it would like unlock secret dialogue with certain NPCs. Then it would say hi and we love you. Love you guys too. They're all out doing something while I came back home and am streaming lore instead. Um Constructed language. Thanks, Tasman. I knew the constant for something. I just forgot. um, yeah. So I have a conlang, and Sakara works well. All these names work fairly well. Syra is straight from that. Tarea is from that. Terra is from that. Nox is not so much, and Chrysoth is close but not perfect. Yeah, constructed language, like just you made it yourself. It's not one that are derived naturally out of like linguistics and sociology. It's just I don't care if you use my real name. Okay, good to know. Um, it's hard to remember with everybody, so I just use the screen names as much as I can. uh, but I won't feel bad if I slip up. Um, it is true, everybody, that I pretty much know most of the people in the chats, at least right now. Sometimes a stranger shows up, and that's fun too. Okay, let me keep scrolling down. I have the second world building document open on the other monitor. Bright Guard. Oh, that's too complicated. I'll skip that for now. The Shadowgate section has nothing. I'm gonna skip that. Oh, here's something fun. Okay, we'll talk about the Vindari, which also means I need to go back to the Silver Forest, I think. And open the stream. Multi-monitor. Yep. Oh no, strangers. It'll be okay. Don't worry. We can handle those strangers. Probably. I am afraid of them though. Let's link the Vindari because I am going to. That's it. Okay. Paste. Here we go. Well, that's spooky. So the Vindari are basically the people left over after Sonya and her army invaded Shadowgate. Like, honestly, most of them managed to escape. Never fear the unknown, fear the unknowable. Sage advice, except for like, I just don't have control over what frightens me. You know, I can speak a mantra to myself, but sometimes I'm just anxious. I'm like, okay, well, gotta do my best. I don't think I actually know anyone else in here, anyways. At least my brain doesn't connect any usernames. Might be wrong. I think you'd be correct. Luna, you're for from my end, you're like in a group of friends that's completely isolated from all the other people that I know. Different eras of my life, I had different friends, and from the eras that are further past, um, yes, Casmon. Actually, you and Luna are from the same era, but I don't know if you ever met or if Luna doesn't know your username. Um, the most previous eras, I have very few people that I am still contacting. And I have a couple friends from like middle school, elementary school, but they all ended up becoming high school or college friends. I've never met Cloaked. That's correct, Ivinsky. I have never met you. I wouldn't mind sometime. I feel like I've known you long enough. We can meet up sometime if we're ever in the same city. But yeah, high school. I had more friends in college than I had in my whole life combined. So most of the people I know now are college friends or people like Ivinsky that I just kind of know on the internet. Ivinsky's been an alpha tester forever, though. All right, so the Vendari are like leftover, the remnants of Shadowgate. Um, and then there's this cool thing. So one of the ideas in Daughter of Dreams, I'm an alpha tester, but I only play tested a few times. That's true, but the value that I find from my alpha testers and the support. Did you Luna ever do anything? I don't think so. Yeah, the value Evinsky of the alpha testers is like a little bit from the bug fixing and the playing of the game. But as long as like one alpha tester gets a chance to play it, that's kind of all I really need. And the rest of the time it's just like, having people to like comment things in the Discord or like react to screenshots I post, or show up to the live streams. That's the thing that really gives me like support and motivation to keep going. and making games even when it doesn't like I basically just need to like one person to be like, um, hey, that's cool, and I'm like, great, I succeeded, I won, and I can make more things. Luna's the opposite. Most of your friends are just from high school. A few college friends. Yeah. Um. Oh, transferring colleges would make that harder, and um, I feel like at least a few of you ended up going to the same college too. So like you kept your friends, but no one I knew from high school went to my college. I'm an alpha tester on Linux. Yeah, I'm trying to get the Linux build thing working out. But last time I tried, like my installation was just wrong, and the problem is like it's not very well documented. So like debugging it is really difficult, and I'm trying to do it slightly different than what GameMaker wants you to do it as. Like GameMaker says, "Hey, you need a Linux computer, connect it to it." I'm like, "Okay, but I've got Ubuntu in a virtual machine. That should work. I can do it that way. I know it's possible, but because it's not quote unquote intended and it's not documented, if anything goes wrong, I'm basically stuck because I don't even have like a debug log telling me what's wrong. It just doesn't work if I do it wrong. So I haven't really chased that down. No, Froggerton the Doggerton showed up last live stream. I was so shocked. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. Um, I think he was at the Slate Aspire stream. So that was really cool to see. I should connect with him again. I'm just bad at like maintaining friendships that aren't like if I don't see them every day, I can't. I don't have the brain space or the energy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it makes me a bad person, but I just can't. I need a couple friends that I just really know, and then everybody else fades away, and I feel sad. But if you need help with Linux, I can help you. I can run most everything within terms of all the that might help. I really just need to like set aside a weekend and say I'm going to make a working Linux build, and I can sit down and figure it out with your help or power users' help. Um, he's the other Linux alpha tester. Um, I just it's gonna take me like 10 or 15 hours probably. Maybe it won't, but like it's gonna take some substantial time set aside for it, and so I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I will link some of these things like the Great Victory and Shadowgate. Um, for if here's a link to the Silver Forest. For if I add pages for those things later. Only as an American recognized from high school, you and Tenny, yeah. Other users have been TLL, yeah. The older alpha testers that were on the last librarian as well, and some of the folks from high school at the time. Because that project I started working on in high school and finished during college, so there's kind of a mix in there. So here's a cool thing about the Vendari. So one of the ideas in Daughter of Dreams is that they no longer sleep. Um, what is going on here? Comma? Comma much? That's a weird space break. Whatever. They don't sleep anymore. They have like a cultural fear of sleeping and dreaming, which is why referring to something as dreaming is an insult in Daughter Dreams. Um, it's like their trepidation about darkness. And so when they defeated Shadowgate, Tarea set fire to the moon and cast the spell, and no human on Somnar sleeps anymore. But the Vendari, or rather like the people of Shadowgate, were using dreams to create prophecies. I remember when you brought Dot up at the TLL launch party. I don't remember that. I mean, I remember the TLL launch party because all my friends came over, and At least some of my friends came over, and I don't know what we did, but uh, I don't know. You're so sick. I'm sorry. um, so they were using streams. Brought a cake and we played the game a bit. Okay. I have such a terrible memory. And we voiced the characters. Yeah. Oh, and Casmon about the Linux build. Yeah, yeah. There's they updated GameMaker recently to use the app image build and also so that it does Steam Deck. Um, so I might be trying some Steam Deck builds with PCK, who has a Steam Deck now. We played a couple of board games, yeah. Um, and then so I just have to like it's just hard for me to test. So I'll let you know Casmon when I get around to that. Hopefully like soonish because I'll be ready soon. Sorry, what was I saying about the Vendari is that they were using dreams to tell prophecies, and then the Ember Star enchantment. Um, yeah, that could be the Ember Star enchantment. Prevented sleeping, so they learned how to sleep anyways. Um, and they're like dream prophets basically, the sleeping prophets. Just kind of a way of like circumventing that spell. It's one of those things where like no one sleeps, and the primary reason is that means I don't have to have a daylight cycle. I don't have to have the NPCs like do different things at night or go to bed or lock their doors at night, which I did in the last librarian. I don't have to have lighting. Having narcolepsy in that world must suck. Yeah, they're probably just really tired. Like I haven't really figured out what Silver Forest makes me think of my brother's song. Elaborate. Um, I haven't really figured out like what it's like to be unable to sleep. I figure it's like you might need to like sit down and rest a while. Like, if you get sore from running a bunch, like you still want to like sit down for a while, and let your muscles recover, but you don't have to actually fall asleep. You can just take it easy for a bit. So you have like that kind of like soreness and tiredness that comes from just like doing stuff. Um, but there's no like sleeping. You just kind of sit down or you eat some food and then you're kind of up and going again. Uh, and I imagine they kind of like feel focused or unfocused or tired or untired again, just depending on like healthy diets and exercising. All those things still matter. Sleeping just doesn't play a role in that anymore. Um, and it leads to like weird consequences. Like mental rest without sleep is kind of like meditation. Yeah. Oh, your brother has had not sure about like how active they are. A band called Luminator, and their first song was called Silver Leaves. The album is kind of a story. That sounds awesome. Also, I can't believe their band is called Luminator, and I have a Luminary, so it's even closer than I would have expected. That's cool. Send me a link to that if you think your brother wouldn't mind. That seems really interesting. Like just send it on Discord. I've thought about it before. What a coincidence. That's cool. Um, when I'm like decorating houses, I've talked about this in the Discord before. I'm like, what do I put in a house? I'm like, I put a table and some like food and like a dresser stand, and then I'm like, put a bed. Wait a second, do they have beds? Like, I guess they might have like couches for lounging when they're like tired or just want to hang out and read a book or whatever. But like, they don't they don't need they don't need to sleep. You know, like, so do they need a bed? I don't know. I think they have cushions, but like, uh, and then there's like the fact that there's no doors. Like, there's not very many like hinged doors that cover the doorways because they're always awake. They're just going in and out, and the weather is perfect. So like, at least in Brightguard, there's it's just sunny all the time. One of the two suns are in the sky, and like, okay, like if there's not ever going to be any rain, do you actually need a door? I mean, besides like a bit of privacy, yeah, but like, um, and again, I don't know. It's just kind of it's kind of fun to have like made a silly lore decision very easily for convenience sakes, but then have to go through all of the consequences of it. No rain. How do they survive? Their lives are so empty. Well, they have a canal coming from Riversend. They go fishing. They go play games. Chess exists. Beds can be used for other things besides sleeping. You are correct, Ivinsky. I probably should add some beds in some spots, like for when you're sick or injured, or you just want to read a book. You can replace their sleep with meditation. Try explain why they don't sleep. Yeah, they don't even need to like they just don't get sleepy exactly in that sense. They do rest, of course, but no water droplets from the sky. What a tragedy, Luna. They're just hard to implement. That's my excuse. Listen, someday I'm gonna make a game that does have rain, but I do like rain. Magical MacGuffin to explain the lack of need or sleep. No, yeah, that's what it is. It's the Ember Star enchantment. Taurea set the moon on fire, which also, as a bit of a joke, is a reference to Phineas and Ferb. Also, let me find it. It's this bit. Setting fire to the sun. It's like the like even more incompetent villain than Dr. Doofenshmirtz is determined to set fire to the sun. So Taurea sets fire to the moon, but is actually useful because the moon isn't already on fire like the sun is. Um, and the fire from the moon powers the enchantment that removes their need to sleep. It's like simultaneously absurd, but also like a little bit terrifying about like the amount of power involved in that. You could add a layer for rain and other FXX. Yeah, it's totally doable. It's not a high priority. Like I figure like if I don't have anything for the rain to do, I'm not quite at the point in my game development where I want to add it just for aesthetic reasons. Um, I tried that in the last librarian, right? I had a day night cycle because I was like, that makes sense, right? That's a world that would have day night cycle. But then like it didn't do very much. And I wish I had spent more time using it as a game mechanic and not just like a weird little gimmick. So I figured for Daughter of Dreams, I wasn't going to invest the effort into making those things a full game mechanic, um, as much as just do away with them and deal with the lore that happened. So cool for a day night cycle, but like rather than darkness with a blue tint, it's all orange. The first sun sets and the moon sun rises. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I don't want to do that yet, but I was thinking about doing a thing where in the game there's like the reflections in the water. And you know how like if you look at like a lake and the sun's overhead, you can see the reflection of the sun too, and it's like that big stretched out bright line. I was thinking I could draw one of those for each of the two suns and have the quote unquote day night cycle just be that texture shifting over as they orbit above. Wait, and Luna and Casmon are discussing games. Yeah, Luna plays loads of games. Casmon plays loads of games. Playing video games is lame. Yeah, imagine playing games. Could be me. What have I been playing? What have I been playing recently? Let's see. Elden Ring co-op mod. Dance of Fire and Ice, which is a what's it called? Rhythm game. Microsoft Edge. Shout out Microsoft Edge putting uh, shortcuts on anybody. Um, I also played a little tiny bit of Skyrim, but then I got bored again, so I don't know if I'll finish that. I played like an hour of Skyrim, and I was like, wait, I actually don't like this game that much. I think I agree, Casmon. I think you do play more games than me. Oh, since I got people here too, take a look at this. I posted this in the Discord a while back, but this is Art of Lydia by Squishy Mints. Another friend from the high school era, and it's so awesome. I love it so much. Luna's screaming. I'm screaming so much too. Yeah, you saw the work in progress. Yeah, it's so pretty. And I told them like, hey, just do the cloak and the chakram however you want. Just basically like blue and silver theme. And look at these details, the little sparks and the like the shiny gems and the like the drawings on the embroidery on the cloak. It's so cool. We need to play some SC2 soon. Uh, I I could be talked into it. I just my job now involves making a StarCraft 2 clone, basically. Um, uh, and that being my job, StarCraft isn't quite so fun. I'm too ingrained in StarCraft right now. Maybe we should play StarCraft 1. Can I talk you into that? Squishy is so skilled, love them. Yeah. Or Factorio. Yes, I have not tried that one yet, and we've been meaning to do that. Let me know one day, Castmon. I should be free on like, I don't know. Wednesdays are probably the best. Go back to there we go. All right, it's almost an hour. And let me see. I'll go find one more bit of lore I can paste in here. See, the Great Victory. Yeah, I'll skip that. That's complicated. Church of Light is complicated. Oh, here, we'll put in the Ember Star enchantment since we talked about it here. Okay. There's that. So a lot of this I'm just transferring basically lore from older documents. The Great Victory. Ember Moon, Sea Twin Suns. I haven't done that yet, but Dari, Ember Star enchantment. Yeah, so this is that story I just mentioned. Tareya set fire to the Ember Moon, and it staves off dreams and sleep. For me, Skyrim felt like a bit too open world. Like you could just stumble upon a group of trolls or giants or whatever, take a wrong step, and a dragon will fly down and obliterate you. I feel like, yeah, in Advancing Images, that's the story. Like the dragons return attacking. I do feel like that's kind of the point of Skyrim, except I agree it doesn't always work for me. Like, um, yeah, Castmon, we'll discuss later. We can coordinate something. Um, I think what I don't like about Skyrim is it's kind of unoriginal. Like, I don't know if that's a hot take or not. Uh, but like the dragons are not that exciting. Like once you've done 3 or 4 of them, they're just dragons. Like we've had dragons for so long. If you're gonna put dragons into a fantasy story, you need to do something new with them. That's my opinion. I'm very persnickety about dragons. Um, the game was exciting in 2011. It's so old now. That's what I think. I didn't play it in 2011. I only played it now, and it doesn't work for me. And I think it's just too old. Too easy to get lost and get completely lost. That's true too. There's a thing about open world design. Like, I love open world design. The Last Librarian is very open world. Daughter Dreams is even more open world because I forgot to do any key items. Um, but I think the open world needs to be like at least a little bit restrained. I'm a fan of Metroidvania design. Like so, Hollow Knight is open world, for a Metroidvania game. And I think that's how open world games should be, like just a little bit more like a Metroidvania, where you actually kind of you kind of explore regions at a time instead of the entire world at a time. That's something I didn't like about Breath of the Wild. Like it's all there. Like great, that's fun and exciting, but also like what's my motivation to go to one place or another? Just like whatever I feel like. Like I get that that's like freeing, but I like optimizing too much. I want some reason to go one way or another. And fully open world games like Breath of the Wild and Skyrim just don't give you that at all. And then you end up getting lost or bored or, like what's my reason to explore if everything's basically like you can go anywhere? I don't know. Um Also, Skyrim, like the controls and the application just don't work well. I have Skyrim, like when I was playing Skyrim, it would basically fully seize up my computer like every 5 hours of gameplay. Or if it's like in full screen mode, it just completely commandeers your machine until you close it. Level zones and overworld, yeah, that helps. My favorite open world game in terms of open world design, just the level design, is Elden Ring. It's kind of got this like progressing difficulty, kind of little chunks with lots of like one main path, a few like side paths, um, and then like very clear objectives. There's a boss there. There's a boss there, and the way that like Elden Ring, everything gives you something unique. Like you always get a unique weapon or a unique charm or a unique potion thing. Even if you don't need it, at least it's not something you already had. There's a few rewards that are repeated, which is like, the flask upgrades or whatever. And all of the repeated rewards are so important and useful that you're just glad to find one. I think open worlds need a main story that's linear, but a world that lets you explore so it doesn't feel on rails. Yeah. I really think that a lot of times the best approach is like a critical path with lots of little branching side effects. Um, Maybe a couple little loops, so you can take some different routes, but um, the ideal experience is a little bit more curated than here's a world with 120 shrines and 900 Koroks. They're all accessible in any order. Like, that's just silly. No maidens. Oh. Well, everybody, thanks for coming. Um, Feel free to continue the conversation in the Discord, but I'm going to stop streaming now because it's been about an hour. Thanks for hanging out. We chatted a lot, did a little bit of lore. Hopefully, I'll be able to write some of those cutscenes soon and get Daughter of Dreams finished up. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, no problem. I'm trying to do it every Saturday. I've been doing all right with that. Um, and thanks everybody for coming. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.